and you always live in Somaliland for the past 30 years, and you come here for more than 30 times, I believe. So what would you describe the Somaliland quest for recognition and its path for them to become an international member?
Somaliland has it's been an established state for more than 30 years. It practices all of the functions of statehood, and we know what they are: territory, stable population, a form of government, and the ability to conduct its own external relations. And remarkably, Somaliland has established all of this, accomplished all of this, with its own resources. It receives very little in terms of foreign aid. If you compare it to other governments around the continent, around the world, they rely on 10, 20, 40% sometimes, or 70% in the case of some of your neighbors, of foreign aid to keep their governments running. Somaliland is a fully, wholly owned domestic enterprise. So its accomplishments are very clear. I don't think there are many places in Africa that could function as well as Somaliland does under these very difficult conditions. And so the accomplishments speak for themselves. What I think Somaliland has been lacking is a very robust and systematic campaign to explain itself, to make its case, and to determine what the best route forward is to seek international recognition.
So, good. Mr. Mike Braden, you have been in writing or talking about Somaliland history and politics and elections all over Somaliland. So, and now Somaliland has agreed with Ethiopia to give a naval base, and Ethiopia in return to recognition. So, and what would you describe the MOU between Somalia and Ethiopia? How would you describe it in regional terms and in international terms?
Well, first, the MOU is like a letter of intent. It's not yet a full-fledged agreement. So what we're waiting for is to see when the MOU will be translated into a formal agreement, in which Ethiopia receives a naval base in exchange for Somaliland's recognition. At that point, it doesn't mean Somaliland's quest for recognition is over. That's one country in Africa, and there's still a long road for Somaliland to make its case in the African Union, the United Nations, broader international community. So the MOU itself isn't going to change a great deal. But what it does is it demonstrates what I think we've all known for a very long time. Ethiopia is Somaliland's most important neighbor. It is the most important security partner. It is a vital trading partner. It's in Ethiopia's interest as well as Somaliland's interests that the two countries they formalize their relationship and make it structured in a way that benefits both sides. Now, in the region, of course, Somalia has opposed this. But the grounds on which Somalia has opposed this are not necessarily helpful arguments. Somalia is saying that recognition of Somaliland is illegal. It's not. New countries are recognized all the time. There have more than 30 countries have been recognized since 1990 around the world. Recognizing a de facto state is not illegal. It's just politically inconvenient if you're the country that claims control over that state. It's only illegal if the metropole, the original state, can make a convincing case that it still has sovereignty over the separatist entity seeking independence. Somalia has not had any sovereign control over Somaliland in more than 34 years. So Somaliland has been independent de facto longer than it was even in a de facto union with Somalia. So that legal argument doesn't stand. What I think the issue here is that there are two key issues. One is, what is the strategy for Ethiopia and Somaliland to convince other international partners that Somaliland should be recognized? So it's not just Ethiopia that takes that step, others should join. But it's also that If Somalia doesn't want Somaliland to be recognized, it wants to retain Somaliland as part of some kind of union, then it has to make unity attractive. And Mogadishu has completely failed to make unity attractive. First, because the federal government in Mogadishu only governs Mogadishu and has lost control, has no control of most of the territory of Somalia.
So, Mr. President, can Ethiopia is a friend of Somaliland? Can Ethiopia also lobby for other countries to recognize Somaliland? Is that possible?
Yes, of course. It's a diplomatic issue. I think Somaliland and Ethiopia should have a strategy together about how to translate Ethiopian recognition into broader recognition.
Good. There are rumors from around the world or in Africa. So they say if Somaliland is recognized, there will be a boundaries focus in whole of Africa. Is that reality?
No, it's not reality. The African Union and actually the South African government at the same time made an assessment of Somaliland's legal claim and determined that Somaliland is a unique case on the African continent. Now, that's because the African Union Constitutive Act requires that its members respect the borders received at the moment of independence from colonial rule. Somaliland's international borders at the moment of independence are well established, and they are not Somalia's borders, they are Somaliland's. That situation doesn't exist anywhere else in Africa, except some might argue now Zanzibar. But basically there's no other separatist movement that can claim to have been an independent and recognized state, which Somaliland was in 1960. And so recognizing Somaliland doesn't open a Pandora's box. If anything, recognizing Eritrea and recognizing South Sudan, neither of which was an independent state at any time, is what could open a Pandora's box, not Somaliland.
Thanks, Mr. Biden.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Thank
And
you very
that's the end of our program with Matt Braden from Sahan Research in Nairobi. Thank you, Matt Braden.